Question time from Whitby Community College. In the week when the Copenhagen Summit seeks binding commitments on reductions of carbon emissions, we have on our panel three people who are well known and well respected for their environmental views. On my right, Mark Parkin, a local environmental campaigner. Next to Mark, we have Ian Leggett, a science teacher, whose modus operandi is the unemotional analysis of scientific data. And finally, on my left, Gerald Dennett, school governor, member of the local Labour Party, and a well-informed observer of environmental issues. Our question today is from Madeline Han.
Now that the scientific data about global warming has been called into question, is there any point in the Copenhagen Climate Summit and the 1010 campaign?
So could I ask Mark to begin by responding? Is there any point in the Copenhagen Summit?
Well, the point is that it's our children's futures that we are discussing at this time. Whether or not the data stands up to rigorous scrutiny is less of an issue when you compare it to the fact that we are technically destroying the earth through our use of fossil fuels. Those fossil fuels are finite, they will not last forever. The campaign, the 1010 campaign and the Copenhagen Summit are aiming at reducing the emissions, which means reducing the use of those finite resources. The more we can reduce our use, the longer we will have those resources to use. And the more generations will be able to live the life we live now.
So could I then... Thank you. Ian, can I turn to you? Because we are destroying our children's future. We're destroying the earth. We're using up fossil fuels. It is not sustainable. Does scientific data
can't say that at all. The data's unreliable. That's coming out of the IPCC, the panel that look after everything. Therefore, how can we trust any of the data coming out of the IPCC? Therefore, how do we know what levels of emissions we need to reduce? We don't. We've got no data.
A comment from Madeline.
Surely, even if there isn't scientific data to support climate change, we're still being stupidly greedy using up so much of the fossil fuels. So even if it isn't changing the climate, we need to cut back. So that
Are we being greedy, Ian?
There's certainly things we can do on a day-to-day basis, cutting back emissions. But the stuff that's coming out from an initial Kyoto, if we're looking at the costs of that, we're talking at a minimum 8.6 trillion pounds. It's an awful lot of money which we can spend elsewhere.
So we have unreliable data, we don't know how much to reduce, and there is huge cost involved. Another comment from the audience.
I was going to say exactly that, which is that surely the fact that they've said that this information is leaked is just going to make people think, all right, well, I can relax a bit then, I don't need to cut down. When really we do, it doesn't matter what the facts are. The fact is we do need to cut down.
Okay, let's assume the data is 90% accurate. Is that satisfactory? No, it's not. Would you go on an aircraft trip if you knew there was 90% safety? No.
You've made your point. Can I ask Gerald to come in with his views to oppose or agree?
I'm sorry, and I have to disagree. I worked in the World Coal Reserves and Resources Database Service. I know exactly how much coal there is in the world. Is there any point in the Copenhagen Climate Summit? Well, certainly Gordon Brown thinks so, because he wants the world to sign a binding treaty to reduce carbon emissions.
But isn't that just a political statement?
We had the election statement. This government and this country has shown a consistent commitment to reducing carbon emissions. We're one of the few countries in the world that's actually met our commitments under the Kyoto Agreement.
We have then support from that point of view. A comment from the audience, please.
I just think that in a nutshell, in this situation, it's better to be safe than sorry, and that we should still try and cut back on emissions.
So we have the conclusion that it is better safe than sorry. And with that, I'm afraid that's all we have time for, although I know the debate will continue. And it's goodbye from Whitby Community College.